Manchester United vs Chelsea, Man United made Premier League history. With 2-1 win over Chelsea, Manchester United never seemed to be far away from the drama in the Premier League, and Saturday's win over Chelsea saw records broken. Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro were on the scoresheet at Old Trafford as Manchester United beat Chelsea 2-1 in the Premier League. A second win in the first 5 league matches means the Red Devils currently sit 10th in the Premier League table. But picking up 3 points was far from easy. Ruben Amorim demanded aggression from his players, but Casemiro let his emotion get the better of him and was sent off in the first half after United found themselves 2-0 up and in control. Amorim defended Casemiro despite his red card, but there is no denying that the Brazilian unnecessarily added to what was a chaotic first half of football. Chaotic Man United versus Chelsea was a Premier League first. Scoring goals has been an issue for United this season, but the Red Devils took a 2-goal lead into halftime at Old Trafford. They were helped by an early red card shown to Chelsea goalkeeper Robert Sanchez, and that decision sent Enzo Maresca into a substitution spiral. The visitors made 3 substitutions in the opening 20 minutes of the match. As pointed out by BBC Match of the Day on X, the first half played between United and Chelsea was the first time in Premier League history that there were 2 or more goals, red cards, and substitutions in the first half of a match. Amorim has repeatedly spoken about his desire for United to control matches, and while he will be pleased with his players' performances and determination, it was much more chaotic than he would have liked. Man United made hard work of Chelsea when United boasted a 2-goal lead over Chelsea's 10 men in the first half, and yet there was still a nervous atmosphere among the fans at Old Trafford. That speaks for itself. Casemiro's careless sending off, albeit controversial, meant that Amorim once again found himself pacing up and down his technical area throughout the second half. Trevoh Chalobah's header with 10 minutes to go only added to the anxiety around Old Trafford. However, Amorim can be proud of the grit and determination shown by his players in the closing stages of the game. An important win must now be a building block for the future. But moving forward, Amorim will be demanding that his players take control of matches when they have a clear advantage. Brighton boss makes Carlos Baleba-Man a transfer admission after taking him off at halftime versus Spurs. The ripples of the transfer window are still being felt, and Brighton won't be thanking Man Utd for the one they are feeling about Carlos Baleba. Man Utd might not have succeeded in getting Carlos Baleba from Brighton in the summer transfer window, but they made no effort to keep their interest a secret. In many ways, it was a declaration of interest to stay first in the queue next summer when Brighton will be more open to doing business. However, while next summer is quite far away, the repercussions of United's actions are being felt at Brighton, and it happened again recently to prompt manager Fabian Hurzeler into action. Fabian Hurzeler makes Carlos Baleba to Man Utd admission for Brighton manager Fabian Hurzeler. The noise around Baleba's potential move to Old Trafford is something he could have done without. Hurzeler has addressed it multiple times, including once in the transfer window, to put an end to the saga. The saga might have ended in Brighton and Hurzeler's mind, but it clearly hasn't for Baleba, who has been affected by it. Baleba has had a poor start to the season, and the latest nadir was reached in Brighton's recent game against Spurs, where he was taken off at halftime in the 2-2 draw. Hurzeler was sympathetic to Baleba's situation after the game and admitted that United's interest had turned Baleba's head. He said, "For sure," when a young boy reads that there's interest from Manchester United with a big offer, it might affect him deeply, even if he's not sane. That's also part of the development, to understand that when you play well, there comes a big offer from a big club that wants to have him. Then, to keep pushing to be humble, stay here and be bright. and try to make the next step together with the team. Man Utd have been handed a risk with Baleba, while Man Utd fans will be happy to have a confirmation of just how desperate Baleba was to join Man Utd. The flip side is less exciting. If Baleba can't get his mojo back at Brighton after interest from United, then it doesn't reflect well on his mentality and resilience. Brian BMO, for example, was lauded for his conduct when Brentford were playing hardball with United, as he reported to training as usual and stayed quiet. Baleba hasn't made any public remarks either, but his performances speak louder than words. And Brighton clearly feel his head is not in it anymore. If the speculation has affected him this deeply, then it is a worry because the noise around a United player is ramped up to 1,000 times what he is feeling right now. What Alejandro Garnacho was spotted doing before marching down Old Trafford tunnel to key Man Utd stars involved. Alejandro Garnacho shared eye-catching interactions with two of his former Manchester United teammates before the Chelsea summer signing marched down the Old Trafford tunnel. The 21-year-old former Manchester United winger made his return to Old Trafford for the first time since his exit from the Premier League club in the summer. Alejandro Garnacho was named on the bench for the Blues for Saturday's visit to Old Trafford, which ended with United's 2-1 Premier League win over Chelsea. The ex-United Youth Academy prospect was an unused substitute for the Premier League tie, with Enzo Maresca forced to make tactical changes early in the first half. Robert Sanchez was sent off for Chelsea only 5 minutes into the United match, and Blues boss Enzo Maresca made 3 substitutions within the first 25 minutes alone. Ernest captures Alejandro Garnacho S final moments at Old Trafford after Chelsea's 2-1 Premier League defeat to Man Utd. Chelsea and Argentina winger Alejandro Garnacho received a frosty reception from certain sections of the Manchester United fans at Old Trafford at the weekend. The Spain-born attacker was a United fan favorite during his time at Old Trafford, but Garnacho's relationship with supporters soured towards his exit from the club. The Daily Mail reporter Nathan Salt took to social media and shared a video of Garnacho in the aftermath of Chelsea's 2-1 defeat to United on Saturday evening. Garnacho could be seen speaking with former United teammate Amad Diallo near the center circle, with the Ivorian winger responding to the Argentina international. Bruno Fernandes later came over and embraced Amad Diallo before turning his attention to Garnacho, who also received an extended hug from the United captain. Alejandro Garnacho's return to Old Trafford fell flat after Enzo Maresca did not turn to the former Man Utd star Enzo Maresca. Key changes in the first half on Saturday left the Chelsea manager with only 2 substitutions for the second half against United at Old Trafford. Mal Augusto and Tyreek George both came on for 10-man Chelsea in the second half, when the Blues were trailing and Garnacho was subsequently left on the bench. Maresca had spoken about Chelsea winger Garnacho before the United match, and hinted that the Argentina star could start against his former side at Old Trafford. But the 45-year-old Italian ultimately decided not to put Garnacho in the Chelsea starting sheet. And the ex-United star did not even make a cameo appearance either. United, much like Chelsea, were reduced to 10 men in the first half of Saturday. 2-1 win after Casemiro was dismissed following his second booking of the match. Dimitar Berbatov raves about Man Utd star who is shattering all expectations. Let's not forget Manchester United fans finally had the chance to celebrate a convincing victory. And Dimitar Berbatov singled out one player in particular for exceeding all expectations. The 2-1 win against Chelsea doesn't tell the whole story of the match, which is a statement that tells the whole story of the season. Man Utd had the majority of chances once again. Could have gone out of sight in the first half itself. only to be pegged back and finish the game in a nervy manner. However, Dimitar Berbatov was in awe of one player who made a mark against Chelsea and continued the trend of shattering all expectations. Dimitar Berbatov on Bruno Fernandes, the experiment of Bruno Fernandes, as a deeper midfielder continued against Chelsea, and for once, United won the game and Fernandes scored, so the doubts can be postponed until the next game. Fernandes' goal was his 100th for the club across all competitions, coming on his 200th Premier League appearance. As a natural attacking midfielder, Fernandes has had to make do with orchestrator duties this season in a deeper role. But Dimitar Berbatov, speaking on Premier League Productions broadcast, says he's been exceeding expectations for a while now. Berbatov said, "Let's not forget Bruno Fernandes is not a striker. He's a midfielder. His primary job is to assist. So many times we see him scoring goals, important ones. 100 more, let's hope." Berbatov is completely correct because even as a no 10, Fernandes has been a pass-first player who just happens to be extremely clinical. He always tries to get his teammates to score, especially his striker, but in the absence of a prolific one, he has shouldered the responsibility of being a goal scorer as well. The Fernandes problem remains for Ruben Amorim. If anything, Fernandes' scoring record puts even more scrutiny on Ruben Amorim's decision to shift him further away from goal. It's clear that he does his best work near the goal, where his propensity to lose the ball in search of a Hollywood pass doesn't cost the team. That trait is difficult to accept from a defensive midfielder, and he lacks the positional discipline to hold his position out of possession as well. Ultimately, this role is hindering both him and the team, because it's taking away a reliable goal creator from the goal and putting in a risky passer in a defensive position. Casemiro breaks silence with powerful message after a red card versus Chelsea. Bruno Fernandes instantly responds. Casemiro caught the eye of Manchester United teammate Bruno Fernandes after he spoke out for the first time following his red card against Chelsea on Saturday. Manchester United overcame 10-man Chelsea at Old Trafford to pick up all 3 Premier League points, with Casemiro netting in the first half for the Red Devils. Robert Sanchez was sent off for Chelsea only 5 minutes into the Premier League clash, before captain Bruno Fernandes opened the scoring for United at Old Trafford. Casemiro scored from a close-range header after Fernandes' opener, but the Brazilian midfielder also received his marching orders before halftime on Saturday. The 33-year-old was booked in the 17th minute for his tackle on Enzo Fernandez, before a first-half injury time challenge on André Santos led to his second yellow. Casemiro sends a message to fans, and Bruno Fernandes makes his feelings clear. After the Chelsea match, Peter Banks produced Casemiro's second yellow card, and the Red Devils were reduced to 10 men against the Blues ahead of the second half at Old Trafford. Trevoh Chalobah netted for the Blues late into the second half, but 10-man United held their lead over Chelsea, and the Red Devils sealed all 3 important points. Casemiro took to Instagram after the match, and the Brazil international shared a photo of himself alongside Bruno Fernandes from the 2-1 win over Chelsea. Along with his photo, the Brazil midfielder wrote, "Incredible atmosphere with our fans. Come on, United!" Fernandes was spotted in the comments and reacted to Casemiro's post, while Altay Bayender also responded by leaving a heart emoji on the United Stars message. Uncle Casemiro hits again, he wrote, adding an emoji of a smiling face with heart eyes. How many Premier League matches will Casemiro miss for Man after his red card against Chelsea at Old Trafford? Casemiro's red card came after his second bookable offense against Chelsea, which means the former Real Madrid star will be banned for 1 match for United. Ruben Amorim will now be unable to pick the United midfielder for the Premier League visit to the G-Tech Community Stadium on Saturday against Brentford. However, Casemiro could make his return to the United starting sheet on the 4th of October in the Red Devils' Premier League encounter against Sunderland at Old Trafford. The former Los Blancos ace has remained a key player for Ruben Amorim, and Casemiro has been the United manager's preferred midfield partner for Fernandes.